It was one evening last November, it's well I do remember. I was strutting down the street in drunken pride, when my knees went on a flutter and I slid down in the gutter, and a pea came up and lay down by my side. While lying in the gutter, thinking thoughts I could not utter, a colleague passing by was heard to say, "You'll know the man that boozes by the company he chooses," and the pea got up and slowly walked away. Now that has put me in mind of the story of a pig, the pig of Cappamore, who bamboozled the British army in Cappamore. And this is how the story, my father told me, because this seems to have happened about 1917, and the British had occupied my grandfather's, or my uncle's house, Uncle James's house, and there's plenty of photographs of the sandbanks outside the house in Cappamore, next to where I was born. Now, and as people in Cappamore will know, that at that stage, every month, there was a fair of baby pigs, bonnets as we call them. I should imagine it's spelled B-O-N-H-A-M-S, Bonhams. But anyway, the bonnet fair would be on a certain date every month. And people would go and you'd see all little squealy pigs. It wasn't as big as the actual cow fairs, which you had on the 12th of December and other times. Lots of drinking and all of that sort of business. But the sale of the pigs was a much quieter affair. But as happened, one of the Tommies, sort of, who was brought up in London, had never seen a baby pig on bonnet before and fell madly in love with them and purchased one. And now he put a lead on it like you'd have on a dog. And sort of, he would pass my grandfather's house, as it was at the time, because we had a pub. But the reason he went up to the Wires pub is there was a pole there which he could tie the lead around, and he'd go in and have his drinks inside because they wouldn't let him bring the pig into the pub. And sort of, then he would come back and collect his little pig and ramble off down, and he shaved it and whatnot because there can be long hair on a pig's skin. Now, but it became such a pattern that everybody learned to love that Tommy and learned the pig, the whole pig. It caught everybody's interest because nobody had ever put a pig on the lead before. But as with some of the yahoos, eventually sort of, how can we have some fun? They painted the pig green, white and gold, as we would call it, green, white and orange. And sort of, when your man came out, there was the pig tied up, but painted beautifully in green, white and gold. But when he brought it back down to where he was staying at night, they were all billeted in my uncle's house, that the sergeant wouldn't let him bring it into the house. So what could he do with the little bonnet that he loved so much? And it was known that Ryan Franks, straight across the road from us, kept pigs. And he gave them the pig on condition that he would visit the little pig every day. And sort of, it became sort of the talk of the town that this Tommy, who could be shooting Irishmen tomorrow and maybe being shot by them, that could love a little pig to the extent that he loved this animal. And sort of, but finally, as pigs do, they grow up. And the pig came to the stage of where lions always kept pigs of their own, and they were killed, and they distributed some of the pork amongst their friends, and they made black puddings, which were delicious. And now the time came, what would happen, and how could they tell the soldier, the Tommy, that they would have to kill the pig. But it was like, my father was telling me, it was like the whole village went into mourning, that somebody had brought him so much joy, would now to see an end of any ordinary pig. And so that's how I remember the story, and that's as far as it goes. But knowing the people of Cappamore, they had huge hearts and still were practical enough to know that a pig comes to an end of time in this world of ours.